Hi, and welcome to Cover Brand, where we cover all things branding, marketing, and advertising to help you understand what the hell branding is and how it works to grow your business. Welcome and welcome back to Cover Brand. I am, as always, Ethan Decker, and today I have Sebastian Hidalgo on the show. Hello, Sebastian.
Hello, Ida. It was great talking to you right before we started recording. I know from the music and the design, I do take it that you're also an AC/DC fan.
I am actually an AC/DC fan. I have been known to blare AC/DC in the middle of my workshops.
I should start doing that because I'm also a big AC/DC fan. I love that.
Oh, that's great. You know, it's funny that you bring that up because one of the quotes I love from AC/DC that's relevant to branding, so I use it a lot, is Angus Young says, "I hate that people say we have 12 albums that all sound the same." And it's in some ways it's true, right? They have the same font, that Gothic AC/DC. They use the same kind of their album cover art isn't always the same, but it always has that same logo. And it's just classic 3-piece rock, right?
Mhm.
With classic power chords. And a lot of their albums do sound the same and they get criticized for that. But he says, I got to complete the quote. He says, "I hate it that people say we have 12 albums that sound exactly the same, when in fact, we have 13 albums that sound exactly the same."
I like that they own it.
They do.
They should. It's branding, right? It's consistency. It's immediately recognizable. Why should AC/DC sound anything other than AC/DC? Then it's not AC/DC.
They have found a thing that works for them and that works for their fans, and they keep giving it to them.
Yes.
It's like don't screw with the formula for Coca-Cola.
Exactly. Nobody complains about Coca-Cola tasting the same every year.
No.
Why do you complain about AC/DC?
Yeah. So yes, it's great that you brought up AC/DC, and that's a quote I actually like to use a lot with brand people because brand people like to change things too much. They change things all the time. Yes. Oh, we need a new campaign. Oh, we need to update our packaging. Oh, our logo's old. So it's good. It's good counsel that you should have 13 albums that sound the same.
I agree with that.
So while we're on the topic of music, and before we get into covering brand stuff, you had a cover song that you brought with you. What did you bring? What's the song?
I brought "In the Air Tonight," and you know, like listeners are right now expecting Phil Collins, but I actually brought "In the Air Tonight," the Marilyn Manson version that came out last year.
Okay. Where did you discover that version? Where did you first hear it?
I first heard it last year in Orange County, the day it came out.
Really?
Yes, I woke up in the morning, and after I listened to some things, I like putting on some music to like get get in the mood. So I was with my co-founders, we were talking, and I was about to put on some music, and then I opened Spotify and I see new release Marilyn Manson, "In the Air Tonight." And I was like, guys, we gotta listen to this.
Nice.
And just my co-founders just happen to love also rock music, so we listened to it and we all quite enjoyed it. I enjoyed it in the very specific way you enjoy Marilyn Manson.
How do you think it compares to the original by Phil Collins? Because that's a 45-year gap or something like that. Phil Collins came out in the 80s, right? Early 80s.
I think it was 84. Okay. How it compares is a tough question because Marilyn Manson has this talent where he takes a song, he does a cover of it, and it's a home run, probably better than his normal stuff that he produces.
Yeah.
I think the original is too timeless for this version to be better. I think this version though this version emphasizes more like the eeriness and the layer of fear and foreboding that you feel when listening to the original song.
Yeah, which is ratcheting up a lot because the original, it has a lot of foreboding and tension in the Phil Collins version.
Then this takes this tension and truly expresses it.
Oh, that's great.
And just turns it into like, I don't know. It's a mix of like grief and anger that comes out of that song. I'm like, nice. Such a vibe.
Nice. "In the Air Tonight," Marilyn Manson, 2025, right?
2025.
Yeah. Okay. So that's brand new compared to certainly the Phil Collins version, the original, back in the 80s. Okay, that is great. We're going to add that to the cover brand cover song playlist you can find on Spotify. I think it's called Cover Brand Covers, but you can certainly find it in the show notes as well. And all the covers that everyone has ever brought to the show on that playlist. So this is going to be absolutely added to it. And we will be right back with more from Sebastian after this word from our sponsors. This episode of Cover Brand is brought to you by Awareness Water, the beverage you only notice once you've already bought it 6 times. Crisp, forgettable, everywhere. Look, it's in your hand right now. Here at Applied Brand Science, we keep our brains stocked with it all the time. Awareness Water. Stay hydrated, stay top of mind. Welcome back, Sebastian. It's really good to have you on the show. I love what you're up to, but I wanted you to tell the folks listening about your company and what you're up to, because they probably don't know as much.
Thank you. I'm glad that you took a look. I am the co-founder of Durindal. Durindal is a consulting firm for defense tech companies, and it is also a sales training firm. We have been recognized as one of the top sales training firms in the USA. And on the defense tech side, we help companies. We have dual-use companies. We help them get the business jobs that they don't have. You see, in defense, you have people that used to work for the DoD, that used to work for like federal agencies, law enforcement, and they don't necessarily have the business background, but they do have the expertise. They do have the know-how specific to their field. They do have their networks. So
the technical expertise.
Yes. And our thesis is that these founders shouldn't waste their time trying to learn and make the mistakes, trying to learn business, where they could have partners that have learned business and can support their mission. So that way they can become more relevant faster to national security, to helping save lives, to developing technology. That's our thesis. On the sales training side, we do that for any industry, literally for any industry, with great results. And of course, I would say great results, but I can't but be biased for my own.
Of course you'd say that. Yes, correct. Of course you'd say that. Yes, you have the best results. But also, Sebastian, where are you headquartered, and where does the company Durindal operate from?
So Durindal right now is operating from the United States.
Okay.
My co-founder lives in Indianapolis. I am currently headquartered in Frankfurt, Germany, but that's changing this year. Guten Tag. And, it's going to be Auf Wiedersehen later in the year when I relocate to the Washington, D.C. area.
Oh, all right. Well, that would be an appropriate place for defense contracting and defense company.
That's what our clients told us, and we are wise enough to listen.
Yeah. It is interesting. Before we get into your question, that notion of where are these organizations located? And these days, of course, it's a flatter and flatter world, and people can work more and more remotely. As you're a good example of that. Your headquarters are in the United States, except you're in Frankfurt right now. But there still seems to be an advantage to being in person in a location near your clients or near where the industry hub is.
There is. Last year, I attended the LA Tech Week, and everybody in tech, if you have a startup, we recommend you, hey, go to San Francisco. That's where the action is going down.
Right.
Others will recommend you, hey, go to Austin, Texas, because that's where the action is building up. And it depends on your industry. I believe that there are industries that you can tackle completely remote. But as you said, there is an advantage to being on site. To, as my co-founder Garrett says, it's shaking hands and rubbing elbows.
Yes.
There is a side to that, especially in what we do. Anything, I wouldn't say the sales training. The sales training is pretty much, we do that everywhere, and it's easier to get traction there. But in anything defense, people aren't used to just getting leads off the internet, anything like that. People are used to networks, like literal networking and relationships. That's our focus. And I would recommend to people, if you can move to a place where the action is good in your industry, move there.
And the research still supports this, because there are many people who say you don't have to be in the location anymore. Everything can be virtual. And it is true, more than ever can be virtual. But the research still shows that if you want to do academic work with someone, the most smart thing to do is to locate down the hall from them. If you want to have clients that know you really well, the smartest thing to do is have an office near that client's headquarters. If you want to be part of an industry, the smartest thing to do is be in the city where that industry has a hub. And I think, and this is going to, I think, get to your question about branding and marketing, this might even become more important in an era of AI and sadly AI fakes and fakery, because you really want to know that the company you're working with is real and that the people you're working with are real and that you can see things with your own two eyes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And I think, at least if, people cannot move for several reasons, I understand it. Moving, if in America is so big that moving states is the equivalent of moving countries, and moving countries is even harder. But if you cannot move, my best recommendation is, okay, find all their industry events and attend those. Well, at least be in one place where they can see you in person.
Yep.
Right?
Yes. Exactly. And just to know that, for instance, their headquarters are really their headquarters and that they have an office. My uncle has done some forensic work where he has found fraudulent companies faking their headquarters, faking their offices. And so you want to go and see things in person. And I would imagine in the defense world, that would be even more important to know that you're really working with the people who say they are who they say they are.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, sometimes even in sales, if you're like trying to close a deal with somebody who is far away from you, and the deal is big enough, and it should be big enough because you should have higher prices, and that's something I tell everybody. Anyway,
yeah,
they are too resistant to like signing the deal because they're low on trust. A great closing strategy is telling them, hey, if the fact that we haven't met is a factor of resistance, I just fly out where you are and we'll sign it in person.
Yeah.
And you notice that in 8 cases out of 10, they will say no, there's no need for that, and they will sign. But in 2 cases out of 10, they will say, yes, come here and sign it.
Right.
And in both cases, you should be serious about it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think this trust question is going to be more and more important as more fakery becomes more easy. It just becomes easier to do, right? AI makes it easy to fake anything. Videos, audio, right? Have you done that thing where I think it's in Gemini or Notebook LM where you can upload an article or a conversation or something and it will create a simulated podcast with two people having a conversation about your article?
It's impressive. It's eerie.
It's eerie.
It's eerie, impressive, and fascinating all at the same time. I don't know how to feel about it. As a tech nerd, I'm like, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
As somebody who it's my entire background is based on trust relationships and human behavior. That side of me is terrified. So for me, it's like, I'm very conflicted on these things.
Yeah. So let's get to your question about branding and marketing and advertising. Right now, you're offering these services mostly to the defense tech industry or defense industry. You do sales training, but you had a question about content marketing. And I thought it'd be good to talk about that.
Yes. Here's the thing. As somebody who operates in a high trust environment, whose results get mostly through referrals, recommendations, and people just getting hard results out of the sales training. Last year, I used to post very often the first 2 quarters of the year. Then I stopped. The reason why I stopped is because there is so much AI fake content and so much AI slop.
Yeah.
And even if I have a content strategy ready to go, I don't feel either the motivation to post because it's discouraging and it feels pointless. And I don't feel the need because I don't feel like people are actually getting any real results out of that.
Right.
So what would your answer be to that?
Well, you've got 2 questions in one, and they certainly connect. The first one is, are there results coming out of it? Is there any effectiveness to publishing content, to being seen as an expert, and to doing it in whatever way you chose? So that would be the first driving question. Have you seen any results? And have you seen results in the past?
I have seen results in the past. I have a
Mhm.
dear friend, Chelsea Burns. She's also one of my sellers. You should have her on this show. She's a real expert in branding and psychology. You will love her.
Great.
She gets great results out of her posts and articles,
Hmm.
and like she's probably one of the few cases where I see, okay, I would like to do that too. But then every like her content is high quality, so
Uh,
she's not posting every day AI slop because she doesn't do
right.
AI slop. But I
Right.
see her, that's why I have this emotional high when I see her stuff, and
Yeah.
then I see everybody else, and I go, okay, but this sucks too much. I don't want to be
Yeah.
part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And what have you posted stuff in the past? Have you done content and built a content program up or?
Yes,
Yeah.
honestly, like some background. I used to have a bigger brand on Twitter than I do on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
I had only 7,000 followers, but I used to rack up 2 million impressions a month for like a full quarter. So I did achieve great results there.
Uh-huh.
1 year later, I moved on to LinkedIn, and the platform already has a different vibe,
Yeah.
and I got used to that. But then I started posting on that, didn't get the same traction, got discouraged. Plus,
Yeah.
I saw all the AI taking over. It
Yeah.
just feels, I don't know. AI content has a way of keeping you away. You listen to a video and it's AI, you shut it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So then we've got still two things. One is your approach to content effective? Was it effective? Is there a more effective way to do it? And that's a big, huge open-ended question. For instance, maybe you just post once a month and it's a very well thought out piece. Maybe it's got original research. Maybe it has an original case study. And you're not trying to do something every day or something 3 times a day. I mean, there are very different strategies that people have. Some people only post essentially once a year. They do a report, they do a market study, they do
Mm.
market research, or they survey all the leaders of a certain industry, or talk to all the CFOs or all the CMOs, and they publish a nice report. And it's once a year. And that's their way to do content. And that's their way to demonstrate thought leadership. And then you see the exact opposite end of the spectrum where people are posting multiple times a day with lots of little thoughts, lots of little quips, things about their dog or their life or the food or any observation that comes to mind. There's not one right way to do it. The question is which one works for you. So that's one thing you'd have to consider, right, Sebastian, is what's your style and what's your stomach? Like, what can you handle? And this gets to that second question, which is, where are you discouraged? What do you hate to do? And what do you like to do? So there's a guy named Marcus Buckingham, and he studies engagement at work and uh, people's good fit at work and employee retention and things like that. And he's done it for decades now. And one of his points is that your strengths aren't just the things that you're good at. Your strengths are things that you're good at and that you like. Because
Mm.
if you hate to do something, it's not a strength, it's torture, right?
Oh,
Right? So like maybe you would be good at publishing daily comments about your life and entertaining people with little quips and little observations. But if you hate that shit, then it's not a strength, it's torture. So in
agree.
right? So in this regard, you do need to find that Venn diagram overlap between what's effective and what you sometimes can stomach doing, but also what you enjoy doing. So for you, let me ask you, what do you enjoy doing when it comes to posting or publishing or content?
I think, as you talk, what comes to mind is I tried posting daily.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it for a week and then it became a chore. And I did
Right.
it for 6 months anyway because discipline is a thing.
Yes.
But it was torture. So
Yeah.
what would work for me, I would also like, when I write, I'm a prolific writer. So
Hmm.
posting once a year just a report would be too little.
Sure.
But probably thinking about it now, gut feeling, a great post, high quality, well researched article, whatever, every first or second week, that
Hmm.
would probably be a good
You'd,
middle to sit in. Yeah,
yeah, you'd enjoy that.
yeah, I would enjoy that more than I just cannot bring myself to post every day because I don't.
Yeah.
Decision fatigue is a thing. I have to
Yes.
make enough decisions every day,
Yes.
and having to decide what to post, how to write it, and which creative feels like 5 decisions in one.
Right. Right. And so for some people, it's not a challenge. For some people, they have reams of things that they can post about, and posting something every day is easy for them. But if it's not easy for you, yeah, and it's exhausting, then you don't want to do that. But if you post something once a week or every other week, that might be something that you can stomach. So it gets that side of the equation. Then the next piece is it effective? And that's a really hard question, because there are hundreds of ways to do it, hundreds of ways to build a network. Timing is an issue. Like you said, you moved from Twitter to LinkedIn, very different vibe, very different network. You had a different group of followers. And so it's hard to know how to decide which thing is effective, right? Or how to
Yes, plus
know in advance.
it is hard to decide that.
Yeah.
Uh, my thought is escaping me. That's too bad.
Well, here, I'll put another thought, which is, in some ways what you might have to do, and this seems to be true for, well, for musicians even, is put stuff out and experiment and see what
Mhm.
ends up working,
Yes.
right?
That's why I like that. That was my thought. That's why I like appearing on podcasts.
Hmm.
Because you appear on a podcast, you get the clips, or you can make the clips. And at some point, you have like 30 to 100 clips that you can just cycle in and out of.
Yeah.
And that feels to me like a better way, of a more efficient way, at least for me,
Hmm.
to handle content, because I don't have to think about sitting down and recording, which I used to do. And
Right.
that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So you want the strategy when it comes to some of these things, which are very hard to predict from principle, is to experiment and then see what works, which is unfortunate for a lot of people, because it sounds like, oh shit, you mean I have to go try all these things? I have to try Blue Sky. I have to try Threads. You have to try building a new network on a new platform. And maybe you do. And actually, Sebastian, that's a good question for you. Do you think LinkedIn is the right place for your content, or do you feel like it might be better on Substack, or might be better if you actually talked to some trade publications or websites and published for a trade journal or trade
Something I
website?
haven't thought about. Probably publishing for a trade journal would be useful.
Hmm.
Something I've been meaning to try is YouTube, because
Yeah.
probably something I've learned about content is that there's a high chance that you would enjoy producing what you consume.
Yeah.
And I consume a lot of video essays,
Hmm.
talking like 15 to 30 minutes, 40 minutes of like research, well produced YouTube video about a specific topic.
Yeah.
And I think if I did video essays, yes, I would probably produce once every 2 months, but I would thoroughly enjoy the output of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you hear this over and over from artists as well. And artists don't have to be commercial people. And often they fail, and they just have a hobby and they make their songs that nobody listens to. But a lot of people say, write what you want to read, record the music you want to hear and listen to, right? Create movies that you would want to watch. And then you hope that you find an audience and that the timing is right. Because it's not always true, right? Sometimes you write what you want to read, but no one else wants to read it.
True.
But I did just hear of an author, Virginia Evans, who wrote The Correspondent. It's a hot book right now. And she had written 7 novels and did not get any of them sold and published. 7.
Ooh. I've
7.
been there, by the way. I used to write novels, so I've been there. I know the pain.
You know that pain. She just keeps writing. She keeps writing. She keeps writing. And so this next novel, she's like, screw it. I'm going to write something for me. I'm not even going to show it to anyone. I'm not even going to try and get it sold. And almost by accident, she showed it to her agent, and her agent said, I think you could get this sold. And sure enough, not only did she get it sold, it was the first novel she ever got sold. It is a blockbuster hit. But
Listen,
she wrote something
many,
she wanted to read.
many such cases. I have a friend. Her name is Rebecca Carter. Her
Uh-huh.
book is coming up this year.
Nice.
Blog is called An Inheritance of Lies. And that book, like, she's been writing for over a decade. And
Mhm.
she's just kept trying, and book after book, and she's kept acquiring agents. She's been putting herself out there for over a decade. until finally, I think a year and a half ago,
Wow.
she found the right agent who was able to sell her book, and she got a book deal.
Yeah,
And she's coming out
that's
this
great.
year. So
That's great.
it's true. Timing matters, and
Timing
consistency
matters.
matters a lot too.
Yeah, yeah, it does. So I would recommend to you, and we'll wrap up now because you've been great and it's been great chatting with you. But I don't want to take up too much of your time. I will recommend to you that first of all, you find a way that you enjoy doing this, that you enjoy creating content. And if writing a well thought out, well researched piece once or twice a month is the thing that brings you joy, do that. If you like the video essay style, maybe you'll start to do that. But right, first of all, do something that you're good at and you enjoy. So get those two things together. And then I recommend experimenting. So try it on Threads, try putting it on Blue Sky, try putting it on YouTube. Maybe try teasing it or putting it on TikTok. I mean, right now, Rory Sutherland is blowing up on TikTok, which is hilarious because he covers behavioral economics, right?
Hey, does he post videos?
He does. I mean, Rory loves to talk. So it's perfect for him. And he just has an encyclopedia of stuff in his brain. And he has just endless things he can say and share. So it works perfectly to just set up a video camera, record him talking, and he's got dozens of clips that people can then put up on TikTok and watch. So experiment. After you find something you love and something you feel like is good quality, start experimenting with where and how to connect with that audience. And I would say that's another final thing is if you know the kind of clientele you want to connect with, make sure that they like the kind of content you're creating as well. Mm-hmm. And that you're doing it in a place or way that is convenient or easy for them to find. So you will need to, as you experiment, make sure to show it to some of your best clients or to some of the clients who are also friends. And you can say, hey, Julio, what do you think of this? Where should I put this? Or, hey, Angela, what do you think of this? And if they like it, they're like, oh my God, this would be great. I would eat that up. Then you might be onto something.
Cool. I love that. Thank you.
Okay. And then ignore the AI slop, ignore the crappy content, ignore the haters, just ignore all that shit. It will be out there. It will hopefully get cleaned up in the same way that spam email has been mostly cleaned up, right? Mm-hmm. By your spam filters. They do a pretty good job. So
that's what
yeah. Just ignore it for now. Find your groove, find your way to connect to your audience in a thing that you can stomach doing, and then experiment and explore.
I like that. Thank you so much.
All right. Absolutely. Hopefully it also renews your excitement about it. And so,
it does. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be down and bummed about having to do your own marketing.
Yes. Plus, you are 20% smarter when you are in a positive frame of mind. That's science. So you don't want to be, if you're writing content, if it's like a chore, it's probably going to suck because you're 20% dumber as you're writing it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. No, if you're writing songs, it's good to be depressed and down because people make great music.
Get out of your system.
Yeah. Marilyn Manson in the air tonight. Sebastian Hidalgo from, I'm going to butcher it again. Not Dorial. Durindal. Okay. Yeah. That'll be in the show notes as well. Thank you so much for coming on to Cover Brand, and we'll talk more soon.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
That's it for this episode. If anything stuck with you from today's show, good. That's the point. Be simple, be sticky, and stay classy, San Diego. If today's conversation made you rethink something about your business, consider calling us to get more formal help for your brand or your team. I run workshops and strategy sessions to turn science into success. Cliche, that's cheesy. Learn more at appliedbrandscience.com.